I would like to run through a few movements that sit within the Shaolin Cosmos family. We've looked at them here and there, but I thought it'd be quite nice to just go through them in sequence of where they might sit, so that maybe by the end of December, at the end of Christmas, we've kind of at least locked in like really six quite secure movements, and we can maybe take them a little bit deeper. So we're making sure we add in the breath, and there's a little bit of sound as well that we can incorporate at this stage. So wherever you are, having some sort of earth connection. So we want to feel grounded. We want to be able to either put our feet flat on the floor or have some sort of connection to the outdoors. Maybe it's our imagination bringing in that little bit of connection. If you can have the feet flat on the floor, that is always a nice way to start that drawing up, that connecting and sinking. Bringing it up to pelvis. Pelvis has got a little bit of softening going on. So you can take it back if you're in the chair. If you're standing up, you just want it pulled forward just a tiny bit so you get a bit of an opening at the back. Lovely. Let's take it up into the belly. We want the belly to be soft. So let's do a couple of breaths, drawing in through the nose, expanding the belly. And then we can let it out, and we're just going to let that belly soften a little bit more each time. So let's just have a few belly breaths here. Lovely. A few more. Okay, one more. Letting the shoulders soften on that exhale. Excellent. So hopefully the shoulders are a bit softer, the belly's a bit softer. Let's see if we can relax the jaw now. Let the jaw soften. Let the eyes leave a bit of tension behind. Hi, Joe. We're just getting our posture and a bit of breath. And then the top of the head's just going to draw up a little bit higher into the sky. Maybe hardly moving at all. Maybe you've gone too far and you need to come back in a bit. Just having a little bit of notice at the top of the head and the spine, the pelvis and the feet. So we're going to soften the toes, soften the feet. We're going to soften the calf. The thighs and the knees. You might sink a little bit into the chair. Belly's even softer. Shoulders and arms. And then we'll do the face and the jaw one more time. Let's do it with a breath in. Inhale, and then soften the jaw and the face with the exhale. Lovely. So Shaolin Cosmos, they start and finish practices with smile from the heart. So you can have a smile or you can just send intention. The intention is this kind of shining out from the inside smile. And maybe that will fill you with a bit of warmth or a little bit more softening. Lovely. So we're going to go on to the first movement, which is turning heads, which is a neck. Oh my goodness. Okay. Kitten, that is not going to work for us. So, turning heads, necks, it's this chin line we're bringing attention to. So, imagining maybe the chin is resting here. Actually, the chin could just sink as well a little. So, we haven't got this like gazing up posture, which is going to put quite a lot of tension on the neck. We're actually drawing it down a little. We've got a little bit more opening at the back of the neck there. Lovely. So we take it over just slowly, once each side, just having a little note of where's kind of sticky, or maybe we're taking note of where might be a bit too far for us today and we need to just keep it a little bit more smaller and controlled. Lovely. And then letting the shoulders just go back one more time. The head soften, jaw soften. And then we'll go into a little bit of flow with this. Add in the breath if you feel comfortable. So just go for as many as feels right, and I'll keep you back into a bit of stillness afterwards. But if you want to go into that stillness early, that's absolutely fine. So we're going to take it over with the inhale and back with the exhale. Drawing in the chins and gliding along this plane we've put in place for it. Breathe into the belly. So hopefully those exhales are a little bit longer than those inhales. Couple more. And if you want to go for a couple more after that, you can just add in a little look with the eyes behind the shoulder, or a little more over towards the shoulder. And then return to center whenever feels good. Just give those shoulders a little gentle reset. Have a little move of the neck in any way that's good for you. So the first movement, well, the neck does count as number one. It's a set of 18. But the first kind of opening is getting the front of the body, the back of the body opening, and that's our lifting the sky movement. I might have to adjust my camera a little bit here. So if we're doing it seated, having a little bit of space between the knees is helpful. This can help with a bit of stability, but it gives you a little bit more space there as well. So that's an option for slightly different posture. Thinking about that pelvis again, and you can always lean back into the chairs if you need to with these movements. If you want to keep it going, but you need to just soften something, that's absolutely fine. So we're going to push palms out. So my fingertips are not touching, but if you really need that support or that help with this proprioception, which is stuff happening outside the body, you can have them touching as well. So we're going to give a little push somewhere towards the ground or in line with the knees out there, wherever you can get to with your sort of movement and chair. Lovely. And then we're going to draw it up, maybe just to where the ceiling and the wall meet. We're going to have a tiny push, like a tiny one. And then we're going to let them down to the sides. Lovely. and they can soften and reset. You can always have a little rest there in the middle of these. Lovely. Let's give a little push out again. And we're just going to see where we can take it to. It might be a little bit higher than we went before. Have a tiny push and then release. Lovely. Let's do one more, just nice and slow like that. Opening wrists, get that open in the arms there. Draw it up. Little push and then release. Lovely. Shoulders soften. Okay, so we add the next step in, which is following with the eyes. This gets some cranial nerves being woken up, so this stuff can sometimes feel a little bit funny. It's going to help, yeah, keep everything, brain and mind and body connected. So we look to the index fingers or middle fingers, each side, and then we're going to draw it up and we're going to follow the fingertips. Lovely. Gonna have my little push, then release. A big opening there through the arms, the chest, the belly, everything's getting going. So let's just take a breath and soften. So we'll maybe go for 3 or 6, you decide, you see where your limits are. We're going to add the breath though with these. So we're adding it all together. Breath, movement, eyes. Just find your starting posture, and then whenever you're ready to take your breath in, you draw it into the belly if possible. So whenever you're ready, I'm going to draw in, follow with the eyes, and soften, exhale. Lovely, keep a flow, drawing in. Softening. It's number 3, if you just want to stick with 3. One or two more, you decide. And if you want to do one more and make it slightly different, you can add a little pause in at the top. And just have a little pause of the breath. And then everything be soft. Lovely. And just have a little sway, a little wiggle. Check the hips. Okay, lovely, lovely, lovely. So the next movement is the one that might look a little bit more complicated because we're going to be moving the arms around, but we just remember a couple of basic things and that should make it a little bit easier. So we're going to have one hand here cupped. It's going to be sitting somewhere around the belly. It's not actually touching the belly, but that's where it's in line with, or at least the intention is. We're going to have one hand cupped above around the heart space here, the chest. So we've got this kind of ball shape here that we're going to return to. Now each time we're going to move the bottom hand first, okay? So the bottom hand's going to raise up. It's going to get to about chest, and then it's going to turn. And it's going to go somewhere above us. It could be even just forehead, or you could go all the way up into the sky, okay? Anything that helps get this like sky connection. And then this heart hand's going to come down. Now we're going to just see where it goes to, because we're all in slightly different positions. Find somewhere that's comfy for you and that you can manage. And we're just going to give them a little push wherever we get to. So we've still got this little extension here. Lovely. Then they're going to turn. So top one's going to turn, bottom one's going to turn, and they're going to draw together. So this sky hand's always going to be going to this nearest point here. They just come to their nearest point. So they don't have to cross over. They just come back to the ball. Lovely. And the hands will be the other way round. So again, bottom hand each time we lift up. Get to that chest height. We turn it away. And then we're going to push somewhere away. And this heart hand's going to push down. So we're pushing to separate here. Lovely. Perfect. And then they're going to turn. And then they're just going to come back to this ball. So this top one's just going to sink and this bottom one's just going to rise. And then we're going to soften the shoulders and maybe have a little smile because we're concentrating quite hard here. Lovely. So let's go again. Bottom hand, raise up, turn, push, heart hand, push down, pushing away. Lovely. Turn and draw in. Perfect. Bottom hand. Turns. Push. Sink and push away from each other. Perfect. And then turn and draw back. Oh, my dog is barking. I don't know if that's cutting that out. Turn in this bottom hand, drawing up. Separating. Lovely. And coming back to the ball. Okay, just going to stop my dog. Stop it, Bunny. Stop it, please. Come on. Shh. Hoping because my son might be arriving home, but maybe that's just wishful thinking. Okay, so how did that feel? Do you think you got that? If we add the breath in now, draw up and expand outwards, that's going to be an inhale. As we just come back to the ball in some way that's good for us, that's going to be the exhale. So that's just going to be like a really slow returning. So let's have a go and I'll see if I can maybe make another adjustment if it's still a bit challenging. Okay, so I'm going to breathe in and separate. I'm going to exhale and draw back. Lovely, breathing in. And letting go. 2 more. And coming back. Last one. Drawing in. And back to the ball. Lovely. Perfect. Then to have a little squeeze of your ball. Maybe you can have a little move around of that space. And then we're just going to bring that ball of energy into the belly and just pause for 3 belly breaths here, letting the body just settle and the mind settle again. Lovely. Noticing that earth connection, that sky, cosmos connection. Lovely. Jaw softens. So next one, the lift the moon. So again, we want this little bit of space between here, and you are going to be going forwards and backwards, even if that's not very far at all. So we're just checking in with that pelvis, maybe having a little squidge in, a little rearrange even. Use cushions if you need to get that extra support. Hello, you're going to be nice and quiet. So we're going to just have a little see where our kind of spine's happy to reach to. So if I was to reach out either forwards towards the earth, if you don't want to be sinking far, you could just take it out and let the head soften round. Or you could reach into the earth, and then we're just going to draw it back. So we're just going to come back to a nice neutral position there with the spine. Lovely. Bring everything into alignment. And then we'll just do one more nice and slow. So maybe we went too far before. Maybe we want to go a little bit further. Just have a little feel. Lovely. So we're reaching down and drawing up. Spine into alignment. We sink into that pelvis. Excellent. So next time we lean down, we want to be drawing the hands up in front, okay? So the mine are coming up to about shoulder or chest height here, and this is where we grab the moon between our hands here, somewhere holding the moon and even in our minds, and then we're just going to take that up and place it somewhere we think it would be most picturesque for us in the sky. And then let it soften, let the arms come round, just like that first big movement. Hello, Barney. Oh, you're going to love this. You're in the stroke position there. And then we soften spine into alignment. So we can make this one really slow by doing a movement with the breath and then pausing for a breath while we let the body come back into that nice spinal alignment, soften and let the head settle. This is great if you're feeling, was it knackered or am I making it up? Shattered. I've gone for a worse word. So if you're feeling, yeah, shattered, tired, and you want to just make it an even more relaxing or slow routine and practice, you're still putting in that time and presence and mind work and breath and everything that's really important with the practice. And then the movement is 50% less. So we're going to have a few goes with that, drawing in with the inhale, letting the arms go with the exhale, and then pausing for an inhale and an exhale, and then resetting. So again, just do as many as is comfortable for you, but you might want to get into that spine down position or head down position just to start with. And this could be even just leaning on the legs there. And then whenever you're ready, taking the breath up, arms up, grabbing the moon, taking it up, and then releasing when you've got it where you want it. Then pausing, inhale and exhale. And then the next breath going for another movement. Pausing. And flowing again. Lovely. Couple more if you've got it in you. Nice movement. Drawing in and up. Softening. And pausing for one more breath. Just that reset point. Lovely. And then have any wiggles or movements halfway through. Maybe grab a drink. Where's mine? There it is. How did you find that, guys? With that little pause in there as well in the middle. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, what I kind of notice is it brings you back to that kind of posture or that noticing and softening. And so that really helps because you don't want to be building up tension through the movements. If anything, we want to be releasing a bit of tension through the movement. So that kind of helps us go back into them in a really nice state. Okay, lovely. So we've got a couple of slightly more energetic ones for you, which I'm hoping will just keep you going until bedtime, and then you can reap all the rewards of the relaxation side. So we've got shooting arrows and wide-eyed punching. They're the two liveliest ones of this set, I'm pretty sure. Oh, then we've got the kidneys one. So these all do a lot into like the lungs and kidneys. So they're really good places to work with. Kidneys, particularly if you want to bring a little bit of energy quickly into the body. So let's do the wide-eyed punching first. There is quite a lot of elements to this. We don't have to add them all in on the first class. We'll take them deeper and deeper. But basically there's a look, there's a movement, there's a noise, there's a breath, there's all these little elements into it. But first of all, we'll just bring a little bit of energy into the body with it. So we're going to let the arms come and just be loose here. And we're just going to sink them down a couple of times as we let the shoulders soften, draw up. Couple of times, soften. Let's do two with the breath, draw in. Exhale. One more, nice and slow and deep. Excellent. We're going to draw back up. You don't need to worry about the breath too much. Just make sure you're breathing. We're going to go for this magic circle here. Lovely. And we're going for some kind of fist. Now, I know we can't all do fists, but can you bring a little bit of tension at all, Phoebe? If you can't squeeze, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. The main thing we're doing is bringing in a little bit of tension so that if that doesn't even involve the hands, can we bring a bit of tension just into the body or into the arms at some points of it? We're also squeezing into an acupressure point, which is in the middle here. So if we can have like something making contact with that, even if it's on one side, we're going to be bringing in that little element. So we do this little circle and then we bring a little bit of tension, maybe have some contact with this acupressure point, and we're drawing them into the body. So wherever kind of brings that force, that pull, that kind of energy drawing in, that's the intention with this, drawing in and pulling in. And we're pulling into the kidneys. So that's another place we're sending the intention, because that's where we're going to send all our power. Lovely. Now we take this out in a punch. Okay. So anything that's going to make the arm extend or add a little bit more tension and push out is going to be awesome. And then we're going to draw in, and then that might be turning palms. We bring it in to where we started. And then we're just swapping over. So intention is pushing out with force, a little extension, and then drawing back in. Excellent. So let's just have a couple of just smooth glides in and back. Excellent. Let's do one more on each side. A little bit of force, a little bit of push into the palm and draw back. Last one. Push and draw back. Pull into the kidneys. Lovely. Now we're just going to add one of the bits, which is giving it a wide eye. So you are going to give me quite a stern, serious look. We're going to think about the widest eye we could possibly make, and it's okay to laugh or smile at me. This is quite a silly one. So we're just going to have a really serious look, and we're going to go for a couple of punches, maybe a little bit more intention, a little bit more speed with this wide eye. Just two more. Bring it in, have a breath, And then release. And then we're going to have a little shake out. A wiggle to the shoulders, to the hips, into the thighs, into the jaw, the neck. Couple of shoulder wiggles and rolls. And then just take a couple of breaths and see how you feel. So do notice how that one's got a little bit more kind of wakening action, or it might feel like there's a bit more like the breath is flowing through, or there's maybe a little bit of energy or excitement in the cells. There's a few things that's doing that. It's that eye movement is quite interesting for the brain. It's like a stimulation. So it's sending, just that alone is sending quite a lot of like information into the brain. So that's partly what that kind of wake up is about. These little techniques of sending information into the brain like that can be really interesting. And I do a few different ones. So taking a note, if they really work for you, can be helpful because they can help with restrictions and pain. Just these little sending in information in these ways. And then there's a bit of breath and there's a bit of noise. I'm not going to do that noise because I'm conscious of time. We'll come back to that one. We're going to do a noise with the next one instead. We don't have to add the arm movements to start with. We are just going to think about the noise. So it is and it probably is going to cut my noise out because that's the joy of Zoom. But it's an S and an H, so it's going to be a shh, like you were shushing someone at a library, basically. But our shush is going to be a very consistent shush. It's not going to be like a shh and then just done. It's going to be like a very, very exaggerated, the longest shush we could possibly make. And it's going to be with the whole of our exhale. So we're going to have a go a few times, maybe just at least three. We're all going to be doing it slightly differently here. So we're going to inhale through the nose, we're going to expand the belly, and we're going to do that shush as the whole of the exhale. Just at least three times there. So it might look like I'm not doing anything, but I think I'm making a noise and it will probably cut it out. So inhale. Might be sounding a little bit like a kettle, one of those traditional ones. At least one more. Lovely. Now, I didn't hear anyone's noises, so I can't critique or judge, no concerns there. Um, but maybe think about where that kind of sat on like a medium or a quiet or a high pitch. And maybe we can just think about making that a much quieter version of where it sat. This might be bringing the noise in just to the mouth, making it, or just bringing it in a little bit, making it very kind of central to you. So we're going to do an inhale for the nose and then like three nice and quiet ones. Lovely. And then just have a normal breath and a little wiggle. Okay. Which one did your body prefer? The first one or the second one? It's nice that we've got a variety there. It does just prove that one thing is not the thing for everybody. And it's so good to experiment as well. They're doing similar things. They're both hopefully reducing a little bit of tension from the body. So hopefully you kind of felt that there was maybe a little softening or a deflating. And all these S ones seem to really do that nicely for me. Also getting a lot of stuff going on in the mouth. There's a lot of focus there on this noise with the second one. Again, that could be sending a little bit of stimulation that maybe you needed. There's that vagus nerve that we're activating as well with all these sort of little mouth and tongue movements. So awesome. Just have one more little wriggle. We're just going to add. Oh, no, okay, we're not going to add that on because and I know I started 3 minutes late, but we are definitely always ending late anyway. So we better close that down a little bit because we've done lots of energy stuff and I want to bring that kind of back into the body, but we won't stick with this too long because I do want to finish with just a tiny little massage as well. There's palms open. And we're going to make this small. We did some big movements, so we're just making this small. This is gathering the cosmos, but we're just gathering the cosmos to the mind space. So I'm going to scoop, make this kind of like nice arc here into that third eye point and then sink it down. Lovely chest, belly, and then we're going to open. We're going to scoop into the mind space. Draw down, bring energy down now, heart, body. Let's do 2 more with the breath open, and we're going to scoop with our inhales. Draw down, scoop, and soften. Nice big exhale there, and just pause for a little wiggle. Okay, so the Shaolin Cosmos ones, they always finish on a set of some face massage. There is one that I'll show you, maybe not this week, but in future. The only reason I don't do it all the time is because it's not very good if you've got trigeminal neuralgia, and I can never say that right. And I even have it myself. But I know for some people it can trigger it. So I just want to flag that now that we'll look at that in a few weeks' time if you want to sit that out. But yeah, they normally add that on at the end. But the first bit of the face mask is this round the eyes area. So we've got this in this central yin tang point. It starts off little massage and then we go over the eyebrows. So I'm above the eyebrows, but I'm getting a little bit of contact with them, and that can be a wiggle or just a sweep. You decide, out to the temples. Lovely. So it's 3 times above. And obviously, if you're doing this just by yourself, you can make this as long as you like. Stop at the bits that you're most enjoying. Lovely. We go under the eyes and we meet in a pressure point that's just inside this bit here. So we're looking for little dips. These ones are really good for vision as well. So they're just inside the nose. They might hurt. They're quite sinusy as well. So we have a little press there. Now you might want to use a different finger under the eye as well to make it even softer. And I'm going to take it down so it's going to rub against the cheekbone. So we're not going like right under that bit of eye, we're going quite a bit lower than you'd maybe think, and we're coming back out to the temples. These ones are really good for the face as well. So we've got vision, lymph flow, acupressure here at the end. Lovely. And then we won't do that tap on the back of the neck, but let's just bring it down from ears and bring a little bit of massage down the neck into the back of the neck there. And just